Guys, we need to have a serious talk. Alright, so guys, in case you guys don't know, right now the game between the Chargers and Commanders is going on right now. And it's actually the fourth quarter, but I'm just gonna make this video right now because there's no way the Chargers are winning this game. I already know they're not gonna win this game, so I'm just gonna make this video right now. And this is absolutely an emergency right now for the Chargers. This is an absolute emergency right now. All alarms need to be firing off right now because this was a total disaster of a game. This was a disaster of a game where they just completely fell apart. The funny thing is that it actually started off really good. It actually started off with the Chargers taking a 10-0 lead, and the Chargers were in position to actually probably extend that lead to 17-0, but then Quentin Johnston ends up fumbling, and when that happened, the game ended right there. It ended right there. When Quentin Johnston fumbled right there, game over. You might as well go home, stop watching the game, go home. And I'm not gonna lie, I stopped watching this game at around halftime. I stopped watching it because I knew the Chargers were gonna lose right there. I knew they were gonna lose, so I stopped watching it. And I would just like check up the score on my phone to see if anything had changed. Nope, Washington just extended their lead. They just extended the lead. I'm just like, all right, well, clearly the Chargers don't care about winning this game. There's a few reasons why I think the Chargers are in complete panic mode right now, and I'm gonna list some of those reasons why, since this is an absolute disaster of a game. The first reason why I think this was an absolute disaster of a game is penalties. Penalties. The Chargers, last I checked, because like I said, the game is still going on. The game is still going on, but I already know the Chargers are going to lose. Last I checked, the Chargers had 8 penalties in this game. 8. Last week, they had 14. They had 14 penalties last week against the Giants when they lost. And today, they had 8 penalties. In the first 3 games of the season, when they went 3-0, they had 15 penalties in total. That means today and last week, they've had 22 combined penalties. That is a perfect way to just lose all your games. And honestly, if they continue to have as many penalties as they're having, they might not win another game for the remainder of the season. I'm being truly serious. They might just go winless. They might just finish season 3-14, and that's it. It's over for them. It's over for them. It's time to completely blow it up. It's insane that what bothers me the most, and this is why this week's recap is going to be different. I know last week it was more just like my live recreation of the game. This one's different because while last week's loss was devastating, I wasn't exactly infuriated with that loss because I understand that once in a while you're going to have a game like that where you're just totally undisciplined and you're just totally unprepared. Like, regardless of how good your team is, that's going to happen eventually. Eventually that's going to happen. But this was different. This time they had a week to prepare. They knew what exactly costed them last week, and yet they repeated these same mistakes. They completely made the same penalties, and I noticed a lot of these penalties were pre-snap penalties. They were pre-snap penalties, meaning that these are all mental mistakes. And to put it simply, when you commit that many penalties, you're not going to win a lot of games. You know, they got to go to Miami. That game doesn't even sound winnable anymore because putting it in the humidity of Miami, I don't know if the Chargers can handle that. I really don't. I really don't think they can handle that. I think Miami wins that game, if I'm being honest. I think they win that game. I don't think Miami wins in a blowout, but I think they definitely win that game. In fact, if anything, I'm going to pick Miami to win it. So, yeah. My second reason why I think the Chargers are struggling right now is inability to win the turnover battle. Right now, again, like I said, the game is still not over. As far as I think I heard that Herbert just threw an interception inside the 1, which is freaking crazy. That's honestly crazy to hear about, but whatever. If that's true, at this point, the Chargers are losing the turnover battle in the entire season 7-3. 7-3. They have only gotten 3 takeaways all year long, and our offense has committed 7 turnovers. And by the way, let me just remind you, all three of those takeaways were in the same game. They were in the same game. Meaning we have gone four games out of 5 games where the defense has gone 0 takeaways and the offense has committed 7 turnovers. So only 1 game this year we have where we don't commit a turnover, and that was the Kansas City game. And wouldn't you have guessed it? That was the game where our offense looked the best. It is mind-boggling that we keep turning the ball over. We can't stop turning the ball over. We keep turning it over. And the thing is that it all started with the Quentin Johnston fumble in this game. Chargers, like, this is just so infuriating, and this is why I couldn't just make the normal, like my live reaction to the game, or like a recreation of my live reaction. Well, I'm watching the game, okay? So I'm watching the game. The score is 10-0. Chargers are driving down the field. It's looking bad for Washington, but great for the Chargers. At this point, they have 0 first downs. The Chargers are moving the ball fluidly. It looks like we're gonna dominate this game. Like, yeah, like we clearly came to play this game. We learned our mistakes from the Giants game, and that's it. We're just gonna come in. We're gonna win this game. But then Quentin Johnson catches a pretty nice deep pass, an intermediate deep pass, and then at the very end of the play, he fumbles. And Washington recovers right there. When that fumble happened, I knew Chargers were going to lose right then and there. I knew they were going to lose right then and there. Because the Chargers, I just noticed, don't have the ability to recover from their own mistakes. And here's the thing. I've noticed that the Chargers, they have the ability to still win when the other team is playing really good, but they don't have the ability to win when they make mistakes. They don't have the ability to recover from their own mistakes. So when Quentin Johnston had that fumble, game over. I was just like, all right. I honestly just decided to just stop watching the game because I knew it was over by that point. I knew the Chargers weren't going to win once that happened, because that's so typical. You have the chance to extend your lead to a 3-score game and you fumble right at the most crucial time. And the thing is that, me personally, I consider football a game of momentum. It's a game of momentum. Whoever can seize momentum is going to win it. But if the other team manages to snatch momentum away, then that team is going to win. That's really the way I look at football. Football is a game of momentum. The Chargers had all the momentum right there up until the Quentin Johnston play, until the Quentin Johnston fumble. Once that happened, game over. Game over. Washington was going to win because now they had all the momentum. They had all of it. And it just blows my mind that we keep turning the ball over. And then what's worse is that our defense can't get any takeaways. They can't get any takeaways at all. So that's how you create this recipe where you're constantly playing from behind and you can't manage to play to your own strengths because you're constantly playing from behind, because your offense keeps turning the ball over. They keep turning the ball over while the defense, they can't get any takeaways. They can't get any takeaways. Like I said in my first point, I honestly don't think Chargers are going to win against Miami. I think it's going to be much of the same. I think the humidity is going to get to the Chargers, and it's going to cost them a win. It's going to cost them the chance to win, to go 4-2, just like how this game costed them the chance to go 4-1. And this is just more like a side point. Like I think really the reason why they're struggling so much is for the first 2 points. I'll get to the third point in a little bit, but here's just a quick side point, is that it just seems like the Chargers don't have the ability to pull it together and stuff. Like, I think the moment kind of gets to them. It gets to them where they have a chance to take a 3-score lead, or they have a chance to put the game away, but I think they start getting into their heads. It starts getting to their head, and at that point, that's how they mess up and they start committing these dumb turnovers, these dumb penalties, and that's what allows other teams to win. And I think really that's what's going on with the Chargers, is that the moment keeps getting to them. The moment is getting to them. It happened last week against New York, where they had a chance to go 4-0. They had a chance to be first place, like a clear first place in the AFC West, but then they dropped that game because the moment got to them. And then this game, they jumped up to a 10-0 lead. It looked like they were going to go up 17-0, but then, of course, the moment got to them. The moment just got to them, and they just couldn't pull it together. They couldn't pull it together. Heck, even when they kicked their field goal, to go up 10-0, you can argue right there that's when the game started to get to them, because they were on a 2nd and 1 right there. Omari Hampton had just rushed for a first down, but then there is a false start on the Chargers, And then from there on out, it's just a complete disaster. I think what happened was that Herbert threw an incompletion, and then there was a sack of some type. It was just a complete disaster. And from there on out, like, yeah, like that was the moment. That was really when the downfall of the Chargers began in this game, because they couldn't pull it together right there. They just could not pull it together. So that's just a quick side point that I wanted to bring up before I go into my third and really final point. My third and final point for why the Chargers are losing and why at this point it really doesn't seem like they're going to win another game, because they're really struggling right now, is injuries. Now here's the thing. The reason why this is the third and final point is because, yes, of course, the injuries, they're pretty self-explanatory. Like I don't really have to explain why injuries affect the team. To put it simply, if your star players are not out there because they're injured, you just have a lesser version of your team out there, so it's gonna affect the way you play. The reason why I don't put them as number one is because I just think at this point it's kind of a cop-out, honestly. It's kind of a cop-out because look at a team like the 49ers right now. The 49ers are right now, literally their entire offense is injured. Their entire offense is injured, yet they are 4-1. They are 4-1 with wins against the Cardinals, the Seahawks, the Rams, and they almost beat Jacksonville. They almost beat Jacksonville as well. They have quality wins against all their division opponents, all their division rivals. So I don't want to hear this whole, oh, it's because of injuries. It's because of injuries. No, that's just a complete cop-out. That's a cop-out. If you just chalk it up to, oh, well, this team sucks because they're injured. No, I don't buy that one bit. The only team, and ironically enough, the only teams that actually does get a pass for being so injured, would probably be the 2020 San Francisco 49ers. Here's the thing. Unless you're as injured as that team, the 2020 San Francisco 49ers, or like even last year's San Francisco 49ers team, unless you are injured as that team, don't talk to me about injuries. Don't talk to me about how your team is injured as heck and that you couldn't win because of that. Don't talk to me about injuries. So while yes, I will put injuries up here as a point as to why exactly this team is struggling, why exactly they're starting to lose games, I'm gonna put it as a really small point. Like I think that probably has the most. It probably has the least percentage as to why I think the Chargers are losing. If I had to create like a pie chart as to why exactly the Chargers are losing, I would give 65% of the blame to inability to win the turnover battles, another 25% to penalties, just because penalties have only been here for the last two games. But who knows? That percentage might increase because it doesn't seem like we're learning from our mistakes. And I'll give the last 10% to injuries, because while yes, I do think injuries are playing a role, I just don't think they're playing as big of a role as some people are making it out to be. I think this team right now is so bad. They are so bad right now that honestly, I couldn't make a normal video about just me showing my a recreation of my reaction, because this loss was so infuriating since it seemed like they had learned nothing from their mistakes from the previous week against New York. They didn't learn anything from that. Where the Chargers go from here? Honestly, I don't know. They have to face Miami, and I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm gonna take Miami to win that game. I think I'm taking Miami to win that game. I think I'm probably gonna make a preview video. I think that's something I'm gonna start doing, is making preview videos. But I'm taking Miami to win that game, because right now the Chargers, they really haven't shown any signs that they're capable of learning from their mistakes. They really haven't shown any signs from learning from their mistakes. It's just penalties, inability to win the turnover battle, and of course injuries. But that's a really small percentage point. And I think a lot of criticism really falls on the offense for this, because I am noticing the majority of injuries, penalties, and of course turnovers. That's an obvious one, but the majority of that stuff is happening on the offensive side. It's all on the offensive side is what I'm noticing. So clearly the offense needs to just pull it together, because again, there's been multiple points throughout this year where we have chances to put games away, but our offense just lets teams stay in games. Of course, there was the Kansas City game where we had a chance to just run out the clock for the half, and that's it, and the Chiefs weren't going to get a chance to score. Omari Hampton inexplicably runs out of bounds to give the Chiefs a chance to get the ball back. And of course, Chiefs got a field goal. Luckily, we still ended up winning the game. Then against the Raiders, we were up 17-6, and we had a chance to make it 24-6, but we can't punch it in from the 1 yard line. Like, come on, we gotta be able to punch it in. And then later on in the game, we end up losing a fumble right after the defense gets a stop. And if we don't lose that fumble, we close out the game right there. Now, luckily, again, our defense didn't allow a score. But again, that shows the offense inability to just close out games or to just finish drives. And that's really what's going on with the Chargers offense is they cannot close out games. This game, for instance, up 7-0, have a chance to take a 14-point lead, penalties and sacks, and then we have to kick a field goal. Then up 10-0, have a chance to make it 17-0. Quentin Johnston fumbles, and from there on out, game over. It was game over by that point. Our offense wasn't recovering from that. Like I said, I don't know where the Chargers go from here. I really don't believe injuries are that big of a reason as to why the Chargers are losing. Sure, yes, they are part of the reason, but from what I'm seeing, it has more to do than just injuries. It has more to do than just that right there. And I don't know. I don't know if they can beat Miami. I don't think they can. I'm hoping they can. I'm hoping they can finally get their season turned around and finally go back to winning games because the last thing I want to see is the Chiefs just easily win the AFC West and then just get an easy path to the Super Bowl. Now, granted, I did predict Kansas City to make it to the Super Bowl again this year because my logic is until I see Kansas City not in the Super Bowl, I'm going to keep picking them to be in the Super Bowl until I see them not in the Super Bowl. So, and it just infuriates me since it looks like Kansas City's going to get another easy road to the Super Bowl. Yeah, those are my takes for what happened. Let me know what you guys think about the Chargers. Let me know if you guys would rather like this instead, where you guys would probably want to see, like, some weeks you would like to see like a recreation of my live reaction, and then maybe some weeks I talk to you guys like this, where I talk to you guys about what I thought of the game and, you know, just things like that right there. I'll try to do live recreations of my live reactions for the game, as long as the loss isn't like completely infuriating. Like, I feel like if it's a really infuriating loss, it's kind of hard for me to laugh about it and stuff like that. So, but let me know what you guys want. If you guys want to see more live recreations of my live reaction, or would you guys like to see recaps like this, where I go over what exactly went wrong for the Chargers? So, yeah, that's it. And of course, I let you guys know in my first video what exactly this channel is going to be about, because as you guys saw in the very next video, I released the gameplay footage. Just let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys would rather see these type of recaps or live recreation of my live reaction recap. So that's it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.